Thank you so much for taking your time for walking through our foundation series together. And this is our last bit of this. But remember, this continues beyond this. This is something we need to constantly be reminded of. We need to constantly apply to our life. And it's just the beginning, foundation, right? It's just that bottom layer, and there's so much more to build from this. So I really hope that this has just been a great use of your time, that you've experienced growth through this, and that as you continue to apply this and outwork this, that you are going to just see more and more of God, that He's just going to reveal His heart, His love for you, for people around you so much in that way. So the last one that we're going to talk about is stewarding our gifts. You know, it would be, in my mind, just really bizarre to have this whole conversation around foundations. What are the foundation layers of our team, and not really talk about gifts and talents and what we actually do with that? Because at the end of the day, we can apply all of these things, but there are practical things that we need to do. Like, we have to know how to do the things that God's called us to do. I have to know as a musician how to play music, hear music, understand music, the nuances of it. I have to know as a vocalist how to train my voice in certain ways. And so all of us, we have these gifts and we have these talents, whatever they are, and we need to know what it looks like to steward them. There's a pastor here in Atlanta, Louis Giglio, and he says this, I love this thought and this quote. He said, you don't just step out of nowhere to lead. You're raised up out of faithfulness, longevity, hard work, seeking God, refining, preparation, and he says this, in tuning your craft. That's what we're talking about, stewarding your gift, tuning your craft. He continues, be ready, get ready, and let Him do the rest. We are responsible for our gifts. Each of us on this team, we've been given a gift and a talent from God. At the front end of this, we need to define what it means to have these gifts, though, because there's two types of gifts when we talk about this. There are spiritual gifts, and then there's natural gifts. And we are specifically going to talk about the natural gift type side. Both type of gifts comes from God. God created us with natural abilities and talents. And then when we put our faith and trust in Jesus, the Holy Spirit comes into our life and He gives us spiritual gifts. So when we use the word gifting in this conversation, I am specifically talking about natural gifting. Okay? Natural gifting. Now, spiritual gifts will be outworked through our natural gifting. But never get confused. Never get confused on this. Having a voice is not a spiritual gift. Being able to sing is not a spiritual gift. Understanding technology, I might actually say that's a spiritual gift because I don't understand it. But I really don't think it's a spiritual gift. I think it's a natural gift. Creativity, right? Being able to have an eye for things, create color palettes, all of those. It is a natural gift. So when we're talking about this, we are talking about our natural gifts. We've been given these gifts, expressing our hearts towards God. So how do we steward this well? And the first thing is, we understand that it's a gift. Understand that it's a gift. I didn't earn this. I don't deserve it. I didn't create it myself. It was given to me by God. God's given it to me. All stewardship begins with an understanding that it has been given. It's a gift that has been given. People all the time will ask, when did you start singing? And the reality is, I don't ever remember not singing. I was just born into a family that sang, that had music as a part of its life, and I just always remember singing. It was just a gift that God gave me. Some of us have a revelation of when we understood that we have a certain talent or a gift in this way, but we need to understand it's a gift from God. Exodus 31, this is a great story where God is instructing Moses of who's going to be in charge of the construction of the tabernacle. And it says this in verse 1. I'm going to read just a few verses. The Lord said to Moses, look, I have specifically chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, grandson of Ur, the tribe of Judah. And here's what he says. I filled him with the Spirit of God, giving him great wisdom, ability, and expertise in all kinds of crafts. He is a master craftsman, expert in working with gold, silver, and bronze. He is skilled in engraving and mounting gemstones and in carving. He is a master at every craft. And I have personally appointed Oholiab, son of, and he goes on from there. I've given him special skills. Notice that. I have given him special skills to all of the gifted craftsmen so they can make all the things that I've commanded you to make. We need to understand the gift comes from God. The talent comes from God. Bezalel and his cohort, if you will, were given these. They were master craftsmen. Stewarding my gift means I begin here. My voice, God gave me. Your ability to hear melodies and harmonies, God gave that to you. Your ability to move fingers and create sound, whether it's through piano, it's through drums, it's through an instrument, God gave it to you. Your ability to express what you feel through the sound system coming out to place where instruments are, God gave you that. If we're going to steward our gifts well, we need to understand God gave us that. Our ability to know how to feel moments when it comes to like setting up lighting cues, our ability to know how to feel that and see that, God gave that. And we live in a culture that celebrates one's natural ability and one's natural giftedness, which is great. But as a worshiper who is called to lead others to worship to God, I need to have a grounded understanding of where my gift actually comes from, because it comes from God. This isn't something that I worked at, and this isn't something that I did because he's like, well, I really like how hard he's been working at this, so I'm just going to give him this. It's only because God's just like, I'm just going to do this, and I want them to use it for my glory in this moment. So stewarding our gifting begins with understanding it's a gift. The second thing is stewarding our gifting means we need to grow in our gift. Just because you've been given a gift doesn't mean you automatically like know how to do it, right? I really enjoy like different aspects of technology, but I'm not very good. I don't understand like how things are made, how it works together. I don't understand software at all. I don't get coding at all, any of that. I remember the first time I was given an iPad as a gift, and I did not know that Apple had built in an entire app called Tips that walked you through how to just use an iPad in a really basic way. I had a gift that was given to me that I knew how to do the bare minimum with, right? We need to grow in our gifting. Just because we have it doesn't mean we know how to use it. I don't know if anyone else had something like this given when you're a kid and you've been given a bike. Just because you've been given a bike doesn't mean you suddenly know how to ride a bike. You got to be taught how to do it. How do you learn? So let's break this down. To grow in my gift, I need to, firstly, learn from others. Have someone teach you something of how to use this, right? You don't have to learn everything by yourself. Like sometimes we think we just have to like, man, I just got to do this myself. You want to grow in your gifting, you want to learn how to steward your gift, learn from others. Others have gone before you, learn from them. You're never beyond being taught something new from someone else, right? This is why as just like a leader within me, like I will say like leaders are readers and readers are leaders. Why? Because when you're reading, you're learning from someone else, right? And that type of discipline, learn from others. If you're a vocalist and you don't know how to hear harmonies and you only know how to hear melody, learn how to sing harmonies from others, right? If you're a lighting designer and you understand the basics of a color palette, but you don't really know how to get a punch out of something, find someone that knows how to like make an atmosphere really like light up and push the intensity of something with lights. Learn from them. Ask them, right? Learn from others. You don't need to figure this out yourself. You can learn from others. To grow in my gift, I need to do what? I need to learn from others. We also need to do hard work, right? I know that's not like super popular to say right now of like do hard work, but there's a process. And we hate it because we want instant results. Understand that if you're like, remember that bike illustration of getting a bike for Christmas? If you got training wheels, at some point the training wheels are going to come off and it's going to get much harder, right? Do the hard work. There's going to be bumps and there's going to be bruises along the way. There's going to be some train wrecks along the way. We're going to fail. We're going to fall. We're going to need help getting back up. This is a journey of growth, not an instantaneous result of arrival. I'm responsible for growing this gift, and I need to be okay with, as I'm responsible, the hard work that goes in with it, the understanding that it takes time. If the only time that I'm using my gift is in front of others, then it's not time well spent. If the only time that you and I are using our gifts and we're in front of others, it's not well spent. There's a process of growth and it takes time. How else do we do this? How do we learn to grow in our gifts? Well, we build our toolbox. Each of us have a toolbox. The gift you have been given is a tool to use, and if you're learning from others and doing the hard work, then you should be building a toolbox of skills along the way. A year from now, you should have, if you will, a mental toolbox, certain things in your skill sets that you didn't have at this point, if you're really growing in this way. A vocalist needs to know how to care for their voice. A guitarist, here's a basic one. Guitar players should know how to change their strings and to tune them properly, right? What a novel idea. Drummers, they need to know how to tune drums, set up drums, strike them correctly. We need basic tools to start with, right? Everyone, when you think of a toolbox, you just think, I have a hammer, I have a screwdriver, I have a tape measure, essentially. At some point, you ever stepped in someone's garage and they just have like this massive chest of tools, just massive thing, right? You get overwhelmed if you start too big. Start small, start building it. Don't worry about what others are doing, right? Just do what you can do in this moment. Understand that as you go through this process, you're building your toolbox. And here's the thing. You and I are responsible for the tools in our toolbox. Okay? So if it's been given to you, you learn how to use this. I'm going to try and use a really practical example. One of the things that we try to do when we're leading and crafting worship sets is we try to have moments of speaking in and encouraging our church to remember why we're doing, or to remind them of what's going on, or to speak faith, encouragement in that moment. That is a tool that has taken me time to build, but it's in my toolbox. My expectation is never that when someone first starts leading worship, that they're able to wield the tool the way that I am, but rather that they learn how to do it. And as they learn how to do it, they have that tool then in their own personal toolbox, right? Be responsible for how you're building this. How else do we do this? How do we steward this in this way? We need to have a hunger to learn. People that steward their gift well have a hunger to learn. They learn things and then they apply the things. And you have to have a healthy appetite for learning. I want to be better. I want to be better at 40 than I am now. I want to be better at 50 than I was at 40. I want to be better at 60 than I was at 50. I want to keep getting better. I want to have a hunger for learning. It's an attitude of humility, and it drives at saying, like, look, there's more in this. I'm going to keep my heart humble, but I'm also going to be hungry for this. Stewarding your gift means that you're hungry to learn more about it and grow in it. And don't wait around for someone to take you by the hand all the time, okay? Like, as I mentioned earlier, like leaders are readers and readers are leaders. So watch the videos, apply them, read books, spend time with people who are more gifted and more talented than you. Put your phone down, shut the TV off, and do the hard work. Have a hunger to learn in this way. Your gift will not grow itself. And we need to get a revelation of that. Your gift, it's not going to grow itself, and we need to learn how to use it. And that means we have to have a hunger for understanding it. We need to be hungry to learn. Go after it. How else do we do this? How do we grow in our gifting? We don't compare ourselves to others. Man, comparison is a killer of communal creativity. Stewarding well requires seeing the growth in others and championing it. Don't compare yourself to others. This is why, as a team, we do shout-outs. This is why we celebrate people. This is why we try to make much of other people. We're not about comparing. We're about coming alongside and championing. Man, you want to kill your gift? Compare it to others. The beauty is, God's not short on how he can shower the giftedness and the talent. He created the world that we see, so obviously he's not short on coming up with ideas. And sometimes we think the giftedness in others takes away from our giftedness that God's placed within us. And it doesn't. Don't compare yourself to others. This isn't a comparison game. Comparison is always going to kill the creativity and the passion and the energy within our team. So, if we are going to steward our gift, we need to understand that it is a gift. Then we need to grow in our gift by applying all of this. And lastly, we need to spend time with the gift giver. No one knows and understands this gift better than the one who made it. And God's the one who made it. And he made you, and he made me, and he gave us these gifts. You want to grow in your gift? You want to steward your gift well? You want to see God use it as he begins to make much of himself and he begins to work for the good of others? You want to do that? Spend time with them. Don't get so caught up in becoming the best at something and using your gifts that you miss the one who gave you the gift. There is beauty in spending time with the gift giver. And my heart is for us as a team to know the giver. That we know the one who gave us the gifts more than we know the gifts themselves. Because when we do, he can teach us how to use it in certain ways. When I spend time with him, I lean into him and I understand him more. He begins to teach me about the gifts that he has given me. He teaches me how my voice can bring courage into people's lives. He teaches me how the notes that I play can bring healing into people's lives. He teaches me how the posture I can take can bring freedom into people's lives. I learn these things by spending time with the gift giver. If your gift is more important to you than the one who gave it, you miss the point of the gift. If your gift and my gift is more important to us than the one who gave us the gift, we've missed the point of it. Back to this quote that we started with. Remember, we do not just step out of nowhere to lead. We're raised up out of faithfulness, longevity, and hard work, seeking God, refining, preparation, and tuning our craft. Be ready, get ready, and let him do the rest. When we live that out and we steward our gifts in this way, God will not be short on doing the rest. He will not be short and say, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't quite ready for you to be in that place. Get ready and let him do the rest. Steward your gift well. Understand that it has been given to you. It has been given to you to enjoy, but also for the building up of others to reveal the glory of God to the world around us. Let's be people who steward our gifts well. And as we steward our gifts well, man, we just see God move because we care way more about spending time with him